What is up, Noodles? This is Sanudasa. We're going to start a new series here on Alchemy Stars. Mostly going to be a free-to-play playthrough. I want to see kind of what we can do with just what the game gives us without spending any money. I did link a Google account only because I thought there was a redeemable for free thing in the gift pack shop, but I forgot that one actually did cost some money. So there is something linked, but I'm not going to spend any real life money on anything you see here. This is going to be pretty informative. I might not record every single little cutscene and stuff, just because of internet up here where I'm recording. But I did just want to talk through some things, give some basic tips and tricks and guide type of stuff, strategy based on the field of play, things like that, and some team building. So let's take a look at what I have so far. I'm on stage 1-8, which is kind of where the game spits you out after doing the basic tutorials, where it kind of plays the game for you and tells you where to go. So we did do a couple of rolls from the basic currency that was claimed from the mail. So that's got some of the starting stuff plus the download goal type of thing. I hope that's available for a little while for others, because I'm sitting here noticing that there is a kind of one of those starter quest banners to recruit a 5-star that is no longer active. So I guess I kind of started just after that, which is fine. But let's take a look at who we have so far. So we're going to start with rating. One thing that I actually learned watching a different YouTuber is that you can get a 5-star from your first 10 pulls on any one of these starting recruitment banners. So one thing you'll notice here, and I just wanted to make a mention of it again because I thought it was very important, is something I didn't know even after playing for a while, was if you look at the view details right here at the top, you're guaranteed to get a 5-star within your first 10 recruitments. So what I did was I did a single pulls on each of the currently existing banners. Didn't get any 6 stars, but I did a single pulls until I got a 5-star basically. And then I just did a 10 pull on, the standard banner just to see if I could get anything. Nothing yet. And then I used single pulls over here on the beginner banner, because these are half off, and I do eventually want to get one of these 6 stars. All 4 of these units are converters, which are a really big piece of play, which is making the board kind of in your favor, so you can actually, move around it and do damage. So we're gonna go for those after this. I'm not doing any rerolls or anything crazy. I just wanted to kind of see what we could do from there. So let's take a look at my team to start. So you'll notice I have, and one thing I do kind of, if anyone from Alchemy Stars Zolan team watches this, one thing that I think is a little bit lacking on the displays are the attributes, or I have to remember what they're called. Not the attributes. The classes. The Converter, Sniper, Detonator, and Support classes aren't really visible on any of these types of things. They are on a certain part of later in the game. There's like a point where it suggests using a certain element and a certain class, and so they're displayed there. But for some reason in the main menu display for characters, those aren't really brought up. But I just want to talk about them just a little bit. So converters are kind of the bread and butter of playing the game. If you have a converter, it lets you make what could be a really good board into a really good board, as far as combo count and making sure that you can clear the floor by hitting the enemies that you need to hit, or by escaping to avoid attacks that you need to avoid. So it's a really big deal to have, I would say, at least 2, probably 3 converters on any team. Characters that can do multiple things, so they can convert and heal, or convert and teleport, things like that, are going to be super useful as well. And you'll see that noted in some of the tier lists and stuff. I'm not going to make a tier list or anything like that, at least right now. I still haven't played with enough of the units, but at the very least, we can go into a couple that I think are pretty good. So for Sniper, and you're going to see me use her for a lot of this playthrough, it's going to be Vice. She's the starting character that you get from just starting the game, from the story. And another nice thing, keyword of note here is, and you'll see the little star here, you actually get her breakthrough, which is the designation for when you get multiple copies of the character. And we don't know really what happens for other characters when you've rolled more than 4 or 5 of them, or whatever the breakthrough count is. But in the meantime, clearing through the story will give you breakthroughs for Vice. So she will get to unlock some of these things and get enhancements to her skills and stats just from playing. So she's a good option to invest in because those are effectively free. I mean, this currency comes from rolling and from a different part of the Colossus, which is something we're going to unlock here shortly, but just worth looking into. Let's go back to these. Detonators, I haven't played with as much. I think it's just because my main account, I had a really good sniper unit that I used as a leader, and then it's mostly just converters after that. But detonators are another type of more damage-oriented class, and they have particular nuances. For example, Lester lays mines on the field that mobs can walk through, things like that, where that's detonator in the literal sense. But in general, they're kind of one of your more DPS spec classes along with sniper. And then you've got support, which is typically your healer / miscellaneous type of things. So like White Dwarf and Keating both have taunts. Chainsaw Rick has a knockback, so he's classified as a support. But then you also have your healers like Zoya and Nadine. So just looking at kind of all the characters I have in general, and that's why I have so many 5 stars, because I didn't pull on each banner until I got a 5 star, at least from those rollable ones. I got a really good converter in Klecken from my first pull on the Carlene banner. He is probably going to stay on my team for almost the rest of the game. If you click down here, you can see what their abilities do. And he has a preemptive, low cooldown tile conversion, which is just really good in general. And that, as I mentioned, from having several converters on your team is really good because it will let you manipulate the board in a way that you want. So blue is likely going to be the color, and that I kind of figured that would be the case to begin with, because the next level will give me, a Zoya, which is a healer. It's kind of difficult to progress if you don't have a healer for the color that you're playing with, only because 1, resources are slightly limited, and 2, if you decide to play with the color through the story, one of the ways that you acquire the in-game currency is by achieving stars in the operation. And so when you click here, you'll see this isn't the case right now yet, but a lot of times as you get further along in the story, where it's trying not to just teach you basic mechanics anymore, it requires you to complete it within a certain number of turns, so it tests your damage, and it requires you to complete it with a certain amount of HP remaining, typically 50% or more. So if you have a really good team and you can just blast through it, that's fine. But if you can't, having a healer will prevent you from having to redo the stages that you've already cleared to get the 3-star reward here, which you'll see is more of the Loom Amber. So let's go back and take a look at my team composition. So you can see here, this is a sniper, 3 converters, and a support healer. I'm running a mono water team. I recommend, typically there is potential for using a different element leader, because as you learned from the early game tutorial, the leader will always attack and activate their chain burst when you go on tiles. So even if it's not the color that you're running on. However, Vice is good with blue converters to begin with because of her active skill, but also it's very good to have a leader that you can just invest in because, as I said, since it attacks every single time, you don't have to feel bad if you know that you've got a leader that you want to play with or that has a really cool active skill or just a character that looks cool that you want to play with. It's good to have a character that you can just invest in because you know they'll be attacking anywhere and you can use them as a leader for other teams. The next color team that I'm probably going to build is going to be electric, and that's partially because I got a couple of 5-star electric units and I kind of want to try out Keating. I haven't really played with her much on my other account, but another big reason is because I have Nadine. Now Nadine is probably one of the better supports in the game despite being a 4-star. Part of why she's so good is because, and I always do that, I accidentally click on the other thing. She is both a healer for her chain combo and kind of has a healer active skill, but she's also partially a tile converter. So she lays down a lantern that turns the tile to yellow, and you know that even when you pass through it, it's going to remain yellow. So very good for strategy-wise or for keeping a tile that color so you can kind of give yourself an escape route back out. But also you'd be surprised how many boards are like so close to being usable or how many levels are so close to being clearable that just one tile of difference can make a difference. And a lot of the tile conversion actives that other characters have, and so let's go back to Klecken and just take a look. They convert tiles that are near you. So the fact that Nadine can select a tile far across the board to connect a chain is a very big deal. And there's another really, really good lightning character converter who's one of the best converters in the game who can do a similar thing, and that's part of why that character is so good as well. So Nadine is another good reason why I want to probably do a lightning team next for later portions of the game. So that is the team. So I've got sniper, 3 converters, and a support, and we're going to just go from there and see how we do. So as I mentioned, you want to kind of keep an eye on the stars. Most of the time, like I said, it's 3 water members on the battlefield, so they were going to ask you to do that anyway, but they give you Vice, they give you Miss Blanc, and I'm not sure if they give you that. I mean, they might even give you Zoya. See, there's 0 Prism. Yeah, okay, so yeah, they're going to give you all 3 just to begin with, and then we'll see. This might be another they play the game for us level, but we'll see what goes on. So one thing that you'll notice as you continue is they continue to introduce new enemy types, which of course keeps it from being bland where you're just attacking the same mobs over and over again. But some of these, basically, if you just, you're going to play about the same no matter what, because, of course, you're trying to kill them. Let's find the game for me again, but we'll take a look at some more board stuff when we get to an actual level. So one other thing worthy of note here is, just from a strategy perspective, this would be a really good time to use Blanc's ability because all 4 of these tiles are not blue. So you would gain something out of that, but I'm just going to do what the game wants me to here. So you'll notice Zoya, once you connect a certain number of blue tiles, and she's not the leader, she does a heal. So one other thing that you can do, and this is going to be something that we consider in a certain game mode here shortly, is to have the leader be the healer. So that way you can heal even off color. So the rest of your characters can be doing their damage and running along their tile colors to do damage while still maintaining a health pool. So this looks good. We've got a lot of blue tiles. So it's kind of giving me a hint with where to go on this one. We're on wave 2, so I'm just going to use my actives for fun. So Miss Blanc makes kind of like a diamond around you, blue. And that's really good too, because since you can move diagonally, you can find yourself in a position where making those gives you 3 additional combos. You'll also notice that as you drag along tiles, there's a little multiplier here. You see the 1.3, where connecting more. So I could just go this way, right? But I'm at 1.7 over here, and I could be significantly higher if I connect more tiles in the meantime. That also lets you get to a higher burst total, which will affect the strength and potentially range of your character's chain burst abilities. Good job, us. So we already have Zoya. Since she is a 3-star, she does not have the type of dupe currency. So there's no, insignia or whatever of hers that you need to break through for this character. So you can get the default stats increase just in general. And we'll go take a look at that right now. So it's still doing quest tutorial. Oh, there is. So it looks like maybe there is the Dana quest, growth quest. That's good. So this gives us some time to do this. Hopefully, this will be a dupe Dana, which is actually pretty good. If I recall correctly, her, having a copy of her adjusts her play a little bit, which is always fun. But this also gives you some extra rewards. So hopefully, maybe you've gotten through that part of the game by then, or you're watching this relatively quickly and you can make use of it, but there's still quite a few days left. This is the event that I actually thought I timed out. I forgot that you didn't unlock it until a certain point. So it's got 20 days left, so hopefully you start it within the next 12 days or so you have all 8 days of progress that you can unlock. And these are kind of just little extra quests. Once you beat the 3 of your notes in a row, you get extra copies. You can get up to, you can see here, 9 per day. And so every couple of days you get extra, in this case, star flares, which are used for rolls on the standard banners, or the first one will be a copy of Dana. So at least you can get the copy of that. So let's take a look at our breakthroughs for a second. So another thing worth noting, 5-star and up Aurorans can be broken through, or that means they can get their stat bonus without needing a dupe. So a 6-star is the main one, and then you have 2 breakthroughs that you can use without a dupe. 5 stars have 1 you can use without a dupe. You'll see this one requires his Soul Amber. And then 4 stars, you need a dupe for every single one. So let's take a look at Miss Blanc and see if she has one. So I haven't rolled the dupe of her yet, but you can see the most characters you can benefit from rolling is 5. And then, of course, there's the 3 stars, which don't need that at all. And so in this case, let's see, do I have enough? 250. So I don't quite have enough to completely uncap. So I probably will end up doing this just because. But the other option is maybe save it for Vice, because Vice gets pretty good. You'll notice the ones that require dupes for the higher elements start to give percents, which is always good too, because that scales a little bit better as your stats increase, I believe. I haven't really done the math on that, but more stats is better. That shouldn't be contested. So another nice thing about starting water, and with them, kind of aiming us in that direction, is that the boss is fire, so that helps. There is a benefit to being the counter element. So you can see here, water beats fire, fire beats grass, earth, forest, whatever you call it. That beats electric, and lightning beats water. So let's use our prisms here. So it's a good idea to try to not be capped on prisms, especially as a free-to-play player, because that's, playing the game currency that you're wasting by not reducing your prisms. And I've probably been talking too much, which is why we're at cap. So I'm going to skip this story. I just thinking about it. I don't want to spoil it if anyone's interested in this story. This game does do a pretty good job of making their characters pretty interesting, and they've got little portions of the main menu you'll see in a little bit here that are involved with story characters. So we'll kind of leave that for then. So one thing worthy of note here, and it's of course going to kind of guide me again. If you mouse over an enemy, you can see what the range of their attack will be for that turn, or get a little bit of info for the next attack. So it's kind of important to know this. You will use this very, very frequently in higher stages because the complex bosses will change attack patterns. They will do, this and that, or you'll be able to make an escape route for yourself using tiles effectively, which will really help. So let's take a look here. We're just going to walk into this attack just to kind of see what it does, but I also want to see... it's hard to tell what it's going to make me do. You'll see my characters doing their chambers, which are really nice from getting that many tiles. So clearing the tiles. So this one's going to tell us kind of the range, and here, of course, it's giving the same tutorials that it's going to tell us kind of where they will be next. So it wants me to attack through here. However, I don't really want to step into that additional damage, so I'm going to stop. Okay, so this is actually a good spot to talk about it. So this gives me an extra attack on the... You'll see that the boss is adjacent to this tile. So getting an extra attack is actually probably worth it since we're still at pretty high health, even though we are burning. You'll see the status up here in the right corner that we're burning. So let's just go through it and we'll see. It is sometimes worth taking that extra step because you also get that additional multiplier on that attack. It's going to pop up and do damage. Now, let's take a look at some of our skills here, because this might be a good opportunity to use some. So you'll notice we can't move onto this tile, which is where the boss is. So using a tile conversion like Miss Blanc's that does stuff right next to us might not be the best option here. Clicking converts green tiles to blue. So you'll see the nearby green tiles will be converted to blue if we decide to use him. The other option is, I actually can't even remember her name, honestly. She's a new character I haven't really played with, but she resets tiles in the area of effect. Now, if we had literally no path, that might be something to do to at least create an opportunity, or maybe we do that and then it gives us an opportunity to combo with green tiles to maybe do a little bit more damage with Klekken's active. But for now, we're just going to use the blue tiles they've given us. And then you'll see here that it kind of goes through each of the characters' chain bursts and kind of gives you some information about what their range and area of attack will be and how they go from there. So we're going to take a look. Some of these will hit multiple times. So for example, if it's a cross, you'll see that there were 2 6/12s there because it's hitting the tiles consecutively, not just once. And since the boss occupies multiple tiles, that gives you an opportunity to hit it multiple times. So we're going to use... Oh, that's kind of nice. I forgot about that. So Zoya is also really good with converters because the more blue tiles that are on the board, the more she heals. So we're going to pass on that for now. We're going to see if we can make an Aurora time here. And you'll notice I'm trying my best to use up every single one of these green tiles for several reasons. The first one is we want to generate more blue tiles, right? So we want to get green tiles out of the way, first of all. Second of all, having green tiles over here in the corner isn't really going to be super helpful. I'm very unlikely to pass through them again. So it makes sense to give them the biggest damage multiplier I can get. Of course, we killed the boss, but you'll see how many blue tiles we created. That's something that is a really big benefit to, or rather, could be a really big benefit to eating up all the tiles that you don't need. So it looks like this video has been long enough. I think I'm going to cut it here, but if you have any questions, comments, I'll probably be doing more. I'm not sure how quickly I'll be able to upload these. Just as I mentioned, the internet up here is not great. But in any case, thank you for watching.